Hi, hey Russ here. Welcome back to my shop. Actually, Rambling Russ today. Today I have my little list of what we want to talk about. It's the end of the year. Can you believe it? Another year gone. So this is December 31st, 2018. I did one of these last year at this time. And what it was basically is kind of reviewed my year. So I'm going to do this real quick, hopefully. Hopefully you won't be too bored, but you'll figure out not only what we kind of have done, but where we're going. So let me start off on my list and let you know some of the stats. In 2018, I actually did right at 120 videos. And as compared to 2017, there was 100 in the first year. But that was a little less than the full year, technically. So my pace is pretty close to about what it was. Considering all things. So it's not too bad. I'm very happy with that. Hopefully that's not more than you can take. But in any case, there's some things I want to do different, and that I'm going to kind of go over what we have done, what we've accomplished. Let me also start by saying my most watched video this year that I created in 2018, believe it or not, was my laser light on the bandsaw. And that one it's at around 1,300 views, a little over 1,300 views. I got a boost on that one. I think Jay Bates got wind of that one, and he actually made a little comment. But actually, more than that, I didn't know it, and thank you, Jay, if you happen to watch this one. But that one, he actually did a monthly thing. He does a monthly review of some other content creator around YouTube, and he happened to do that video about me. So that video went up. I also noticed about 100 subscriber boost real quick when he did that. So it kind of made a big difference on a couple of things, a noticeable difference. So not as much as I would have thought that would help, but that's okay. Like I said, I like being small. I don't really want to be a big channel like Jay Bates or any of those. I enjoy the small, knowing everybody that I talk to on the comments. It's kind of nice. So anyway, will it stay that way? Only time will tell. So anyway, my two videos, the best one was that laser light. The worst one was my paper punch solution by OTB. And that one only got 50. So it got a lot more, even though it's the worst one. It got a lot more than my worst one from 2017. But you know what? My count of per video has gone up. It used to be about 20 views in the first 2 days, and now it's probably somewhere around 100, maybe a little less, somewhere in there. So it's gone up some. I get a lot more of the people that are steady commenters and suggestions and observers on my channel that I interact with. That number has grown some. I know most of you people pretty, I think somewhat well, as far as knowing them from commenting back and forth on many occasions. So some of them I hear from a lot. Some I only hear from maybe once in the blue moon. But, I know they're still out there because they still say something every now and then. And so, I appreciate all the viewers I have, but I do like it being kind of small. So anyway, those are my viewer counts. Now, my overall count of views to date on my YouTube channel is around 75,000. I didn't tell you what that was last year, and sorry I didn't. But this year I thought I'd mention it, and I'll start comparing that from year to year too. So my overall count at a little over 75,000 is what it is at the end of 2018. And that includes 2017, of course. So one of the things I should point out real quick that I've kind of noticed, that I don't know if you know or not, so it's kind of like a little tip. But if you have a small channel like mine and you want it to grow and get bigger, excuse me, most people do, then what you'll find that if you really kind of want to increase that, what you probably should do is, first off, get rid of that little letter with the solid color circle for your icon of your home channel, and change that out to something that shows your picture or something that relates to your channel, just make it more than that generic letter, because when you leave comments, people notice that first, and the title of your channel. That's probably can be somewhat important if it's descriptive of what your channel does. So anyway, I found that if I take one of the big creators like Jay Bates or April Wilkerson, and I make a comment on theirs in the first couple hours of when they get a video out, I get this really bigger influx of new subscribers and views all of a sudden. And so that's a good way to, believe it or not, if you did that constantly, watched your YouTube like I do, if you take and anytime one of those bigger channels that you may want to associate with, if you make a comment on there, just a simple comment, there's a good chance that that'll end up picking you up several new subscribers, believe it or not. I try not to do comments on most of the channels like that until they're about 3 or 4 days old. In fact, I try not to watch these channels until 3 or 4 days old. And I find by doing it that way, I don't get a lot of the new subscribers coming from that, because most of the people that are going to watch your channel usually watch in the first 2 days. So if you have a comment in there that is noticeable and you put it on there immediately, then people start noticing. That's where I get a lot of my new people that I subscribe to, is I see their comments and I go look at their channel and I go, oh, that's something I'd be interested in. And I find YouTube channels that I start watching some of their past videos then. And so that's where a lot of my viewing comes from. And I suspect that those that join my channel, that's where they find me, is me making a comment on another channel rather than from the search engine from YouTube. Anyway, it's a quick tip. If you really want to grow your channel, then you should put a comment out on one of these big hitters and do it as soon as you can after the video comes out, and that will expose your comment more, and that will increase your count, believe it or not. If you do that on a regular basis, there's a good chance that you'll pick up quite a few subscribers pretty fast without doing much of anything else. Now again, your content, your quality of your videos, all those things can make a big difference as to how good your channel becomes in the long run. But not necessarily. So anyway, there's the tip about trying to increase your subscriber list if you want to. Now, I will say that I'm still, after almost 2 years, I'm not monetized yet by YouTube. And originally I was saying I didn't care whether I would be or not. And actually, I don't want to depend on it, but I've decided that maybe it'd be a good idea to do what I need to get myself into the monetized state, near as I understand how it works. Not because I want to make the money off of it, but all honesty, if I ever put out one video that all of a sudden hits 1 million views, it would be nice to see what happens money-wise on that one. And I expect maybe someday that might happen. Probably not, but it might. But if I hit that 1 million views on one and I'm not even monetized yet, that probably would be a heartbreaker about the kind of money I would get that 1 month, if it works that way. Now, again, somebody that is monetized and you want to talk about that, that would be an interesting subject, because I still don't know everything there is about the monetizing your channel. So anyway, just a food for thought. Probably not a bad idea to be monetized, even if you're not going to take advantage of making a living off of it. If you ever hit that one big one, it'd be nice to already be monetized, I suspect. So I am going to do that. So I want to improve my own home channel, and I'm doing a couple of things that will change that and hopefully make it better and maybe even easier for you. I get a lot of comments about things that they see in my shop, sometimes in the background, sometimes I briefly brush across it while I'm showing you something else, and the comment is made, about that item. And there's a good chance that it might be something that I've talked about before, and sometimes exclusively about something that's going on in my shop. And so I find that trying to tell you then, when you comment about it, where to find that video is kind of pain for me to do. So one of the improvements I'm going to make to my channel is I'm going to create a playlist year after year that will include all of the videos from that year. That way, if you ask me about something and I know I did a video on it, I can just say what year and what number video in that list to go to see what I'm talking about. And that make it a lot easier for me. Plus, if you want to go back and see particular videos or anything, you'll be able to. So that's one of the ways I want to improve it. The other way I kind of improved my channel, I think, is as far as the other channels that I watch, you have on your home channel, and maybe you guys already know this, but you have a capability on your home page to put featured channels. Those are the channels that you want to recommend. Now, I have about 5 channels on there now that I recommend, but I follow this one little rule about doing it. I don't want to put big channels like April Wilkerson's or Jay Bates on there. They don't need my help, nor would I even make a difference to them. But a lot of the small channels are still some of my favorite channels to watch. And a good example of that would be the 4 or 5 that I have there now. Go look at those featured channels. Those are the ones that I watch every video they put out. I don't always enjoy everyone, but I do watch everyone, and most of them I really do enjoy. If I like them, maybe you will. So I thought, if they're a small channel like me, they're never going to get found, so maybe you'll find them just by looking at my featured channels. So if you want to know what I like to watch, there's a good example of some of the things that I like to watch on my channel. So, featured channels, I want to try to keep that updated. And if your channel gets to be a very large channel, don't take it personal if I take you back off. But if you have 10,000 subscribers already and you're getting 20,000 views every time you put one out, I probably won't have you on my featured channels. It's really going to be about the small content creator like myself and those ones that you will see. And like I said, they're pretty good channels anyway, I think. So if you're looking for something entertaining to watch and the smaller channel, take a look at that list and check those channels out. You'll see what I'm talking about. So the other thing I want to do is I want to create a new series on my videos. Now, if you know, I've been on my channel very much, you know that I don't edit videos. So what I plan on doing is I would like to start making a video now and then. I don't know what the series is going to be called, but I'd like to make a video from start to finish in the spirit of the Woodwright Shop. If you ever remember, he would sit there and have his project partially done at different stages, at different places around his shop, and then he'd start it from start to finish, nonstop. He'd stop and show you the one piece, he'd do a couple quick cuts, and then he'd take that and set it down, pick up the next piece, and he'd move over to the next stage, and he was showing you how to do the different steps. I think I'm going to try to do videos like that once in a while. They're a little more difficult, takes a lot of setup time before I do it, but I go from start to finish without editing it, and I can show you the actual steps of how to do it. The first video I'm going to do like that may be of help to everybody, is I'm going to show you how I make one of the style of wood hinges that I like to make. I think it would be very entertaining. I'll probably do 2 or 3 of those because I have several different methods of making hinges, different styles, and I think you'll probably enjoy those. So I think I'll set that up and try to do one of those videos every now and then of that. The other new series I kind of like to start is what I would call Copycat. Copycat is basically going to be where I see somebody who made something that I kind of like to caught my eye on YouTube, like his own table saw sled, and it has some nice features on it, and I say, I'd like to have something like that myself. Sometimes I'll make it identical to theirs. Sometimes I might make a couple of minor improvements to either improve it, or because it works in my shop, even though his version works in his, it may not work exactly in mine. So I would have to change it slightly and then show you how I made it, how I changed it, who it was I copied, and what I think about their original design. Will that be worth anything? Probably, maybe not, but that's okay. I think it'll be a fun project, and I think that I've had a couple of my projects be remade by other people, and that kind of got me thinking that is actually kind of a cool thing to do. So I'm going to try to take other people's ideas and copy them in my shop and see how they work and let you know. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be called, I think, Copycat, or a version thereof. So stay tuned. That's the other way I'm planning on improving my shop. So the next thing I plan on, what am I going to do this year? Some of the projects I'm going to work on. First and foremost, let me say that I really want to do that miter station, and I am about to get started on that. I'm chomping at the bit. That is really a better project for during summertime, where I can put some things outside out of my way while I redo that wall, because this whole wall over here, it's a nightmare. And if I get a nice set of cabinets and wood working station there, it would be very nice, and that would be a good place for my miter saw. Again, I want to do it strictly, mostly with the OSB plywood instead of using very expensive plywood like everybody does. And I'm going to show you how you can do it with OSB plywood and pocket screws, pretty much for everything, and it should come out pretty good when you get done and be strong enough to last years and years when I get done with it. So, and I have some very particular ideas that I'm going to do on that that's going to be very unique, as you might guess. I'm always outside the box, so, and that project will be no different. So some of the other projects I want to do, I like my series, but it doesn't seem to be doing very well viewer count-wise, is my Porta-Power. And I'm going to try to get these 2 units finished up here pretty quick and get those done. Where will that go from there? I don't know. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but I like the idea of the Porta-Power. And I think it has some very good uses in your shop and in your daily life. So I don't think I'm going to discontinue the series, but I'm not sure where it's really going to go. If you have any suggestions or anything about that, or any of my videos, or any new ideas, never be afraid to tell me, because I'll tell you, most of the time, that's where a lot of my stuff may come from, is things that you tell me or want to know. My biggest video to date is still my panel saw, part 1. It's got over 18,000 views this year now, as opposed to last year. I think it had around 5,000. So that one is still going strong for some reason. It's amazing. I have some improvements. That's going to be a project coming up too. I have some nice improvements to that I got to really get done. I've been wanting to do it, and hopefully this year I'll get those done. So stay tuned for that panel saw thing. The other thing I've been thinking a lot about is a good table saw sled for my dado table saw. I have that set up that I use, the Miter 5000 miter sled that I acquired through another purchase, and it came with it. And I've liked that. It's handy. So I did a video on where I showed you how I use that setup on my regular table saw, where I keep my 7 1/4 inch table saw blade in, and that's where I do most of my cutting up things, is on that table saw. But now and then it's nice to have that dado set, but I don't really have a good sled for it. So my sled is going to include a really, I think, a variable keyway for doing finger joints of any width, and then I'm also going to have a way to be able to mount and dismount my Incra jig, which, as you know, I've done several videos on how handy that can be around the shop, and I want to do a video real quick of that to show how I can take that and mount it and dismount it on my miter sled when I want to use it, incorporate that to do some very detailed things. So I think that'll be an interesting video. I have some ideas I already laid out, some little drawings I've done, so we'll put that together pretty quick. I'm going to rearrange my shop here pretty radically in the next probably in the next week. And maybe after that I might do a shop tour just one time to give you an idea of how I got some of these weird things going on in my shop and how they actually all work together. So stay tuned for, I think this year I'm going to do a tour. And I think that's about all the things I've got that I've talked about now that I'm going to do as far as projects. So anyway, if you have any suggestions or ideas of what I can do, or things that you want to ask questions about how to solve a problem, let me know. We'll talk about it. I have a feeling that that's where a lot of my videos, as I said, they come from. So I appreciate those. If you have any, let me know. If you see any good video channels out there that I don't know about, especially small ones, I would love to hear from you to know where they are so I can go check them out, because I'm always looking for some new good channels. There's a lot of us around that are very small channels that are very good, and a lot of them are very good even though they're very small. It's amazing. So And if you ever see anybody that does something that you know it's wrong, it just flat isn't done right, they're inaccurate in the way they do something, let me know. I'm going to go right at it with my Show Me series, as you know what that is. So if you see anything out there, let me know. So anyway, if you have any comments about this channel, please leave them below. If you like this video, please say so. Most importantly, come back. As you can tell, next year, there's lots to do. I'm nowhere near done. Thanks. Happy New Year, and we'll see you again very soon.